Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, welcome back to yet another episode of the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast, episode 19. Can you believe this? Our work rate is terrible. 19 episodes in many months. Like, that's just poor. Like, we've just got to step it up, man. So as always, it's me, your boy Slack, and my co-host extraordinaire is up in the building.
Yes, E Major in the house. Welcome to another episode of Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast that knows and celebrates hip hop. Slack, what's good, bro?
Yes, indeed, my brother. So, the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed that both me and E have chosen to wear specific tees today, and so this episode is going to be dedicated to my favorite MC of all time, the Notorious B.I.G, and we're going to be looking back at his anniversary of the Life After Death album. So, because we're hitting 25 years, believe it or not, that the album has been out. So we thought it would be a good time for us to commemorate the album. I'm not one to be celebrating the man's death or wishing him happy birthday on March 9th or nothing like that. So we thought it would be good for us to look back after a quarter of a decade of the album being out and just celebrate the guy, you know what I mean? Because he remains one of the best to ever do it. So we're dedicating this episode to B.I.G after 25 years. And let's get straight to it, man. So, E, man. First and foremost, my brother, where does Biggie rank for you, man?
For me, I'd put Biggie down as, if I'm looking at my favorites of all time, in my top 10, he's number 4 of all time. Do you know what I'm saying? And considering this man gave us 2 albums, you know what I'm saying? And obviously other little bits here and there, but I think that's a great achievement. And he's been gone 25 years. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's it, bro, for real.
So yeah, number 4 for me, man. Without a doubt. He was, for a good time, he was my favorite rapper. I know definitely 94, 95, he was my favorite rapper. Then after that, he just started floating around 2, 3. But yeah, man, that's where I'd have him definitely. I can't see him really moving from that spot now, to be honest. But yeah, I know you don't really rank MCs too much, but where would you have him? When I say rank, I mean you don't really have a top 10 as such, but
number 1, and we can get into why further down the line. But for me, he's the best rapper that I've heard ever, and there's many reasons for that. It's not just because I liked his songs, but I've got many reasons why he ranks highly. People say, oh, you know, is it because, you know, he's died, so you give him fake props and stuff? It's like, it's nah. Like, there's plenty of MCs that are no longer here, and you know what I mean. I don't give them, you know, super props. But Biggie was getting props while he was alive. That is the difference.
That's the difference.
A lot of these other people, they weren't, you know what I mean, they weren't getting these kind of props, and then once they're not here, it's like, oh, you know, he could have been this, he could have been that. But Biggie was that while he was alive. That is the difference. And if you look at the vast array of stuff that he did in the very short time that he was rapping, if we think about it, he was only really rapping from like 92 until 97 when he died. That's 5 years, bro.
Span. Yeah, exactly.
So when we actually look at what he accomplished in that 5 years, we really got to, you know what I mean, start taking these things into account. So let's kick off with the commemorating of the album Life After Death, coming off the back of one of the greatest rap debuts of all time, Ready to Die. There was a big thing about the sophomore slump in hip hop. A lot of second albums were not up to par. They weren't good. We had Snoop coming out with The Dog Father. We've had a lot of albums that came out after a very big first album, and they just weren't hitting. So for him to bring out Life After Death and it be bigger, like everything about it was bigger.
Yeah.
Considering how big Life After Death was, the sound was bigger, the raps were bigger, the ambition was bigger. Obviously, it was a double album rather than a single album. So I think, you know, sky was the limit, as he said. You know what I mean? I think that was the aim for him to cement himself as the best out. And you don't really hear a lot of rappers usually agreeing that someone is the best. You know what I mean? Hip hop is or used to be a very competitive genre. So for other rappers and New York as well, like, you know, if you got someone from Harlem, they ain't gonna mess with someone from the Bronx or, you know, Brooklyn or whatever. So for a lot of New Yorkers to say that this guy was, you know, the best, or, you know, him calling himself Frank White, and people actually like, okay, well, you know, I can live with that.
Yeah,
That is crazy when you think about it. So yeah, I mean, how do you feel about, you know, the album and hearing about it, the build up to it?
Yeah, man. I mean, me and you, we always have jokes about this and talk about it a lot, but Life After Death for me, there's moments I have it over Ready to Die. And I know that's a shocker for some people because of, let's be honest, as good as Life After Death is, there are a couple bad moments, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes they can stand out, whereas I don't think Ready to Die has any really bad moments, you know what I mean? I know some people say Respect and what's the other one that a lot of people don't feel?
Friend of mine.
But I don't think they're particularly bad. They're just probably low points on the album. You see what I'm saying? Whereas Life After Death has actually got a couple bad songs on it. Do you know what I mean? But when you're looking at Life After Death and Ready to Die, there's times when I have Life After Death over that. I think it's a brilliant album. I think it's, like you said, it's just bigger. It's brighter. We won't get too much into Big himself. We'll do that later. But just him on that album, for me, I think I'll put that to like Nas's Illmatic to It Was Written, in a sense of where I just feel like his lyrical progression from that album to the second one, which is just like his. Just
imagine
incredible.
what he would have done on the third album.
That would have been the crazy one, because you look. I think of people like Outkast. Do you know what I'm saying? First two albums, classics, and then they come with, for me anyway, I can't talk for everyone, but then they come with my favorite album of theirs, album number 3. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people where like the third project is the one for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're really in a zone now. They know they're comfortable, and I think his third album would have been insane. Do you know what I mean? Because he would have been writing a lot of stuff, putting it away, ready for the third album. We know he had plans to maybe move on from Bad Boy as well, so it might not have had that kind of, you know what I mean, such a
that
glossy
weasel in the
commercial
background.
There you go. You know what I mean? Take that. Might not have been all over album number 3. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it would have been very interesting to see, man. But yeah, Life After Death, incredible album, man. Still play it. In fact, and it's not, I didn't listen to it for this episode tonight. I listen to it often, but I listened to it again, freshly again tonight. Before we started recording, just so it was fresh in me as well. And even as I'm listening to it, I'm thinking it's an incredible album, man. It really, really is. So yeah, man, let's talk about favorite tracks.
Exactly, man. That's what I was going to get into next. So
yeah, what would you say your top 5?
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go for favorite tracks and least favorite tracks, as you were saying.
Yeah.
There's quite a few skips on there, so I think that's only fair. So, go on, man. What are your what are your 5 favorite songs on there?
Right, man. Even today, that's another reason I was listening to it today, because I was trying to narrow it down to 5, man. And it's hard because there's so many I just feel bad about leaving out. And I felt like I picked the obvious ones, but I'm just keeping it real and just being what my 5 favorite are. Kick in the Door, definitely. Everything, even from the skit at the beginning, bro, like, it's hilarious for me. Mad rapper. Never fails to make me laugh, man. It never does, man. But it's like, it's all right. I'm more John Blaze than that. You know what I mean? It's just, bro, he needs some serious anger management, man. But yeah, then just the way it goes into that, just incredible track. Him lyrically on that kills it. The beat, everything. Kicking the Door, no doubt. Last Days, man, everyone knows how I feel about Havoc as well. Havoc destroys, in a good sense, just destroys that track, man. He just kills it, man. That beat, that production, Locks kill it. Biggie, these times Sheik was my favorite as well, and I just think all of them bring it on that. Biggie's verse, obviously, know it word for word, killed it. Last Days is incredible. I want to say Notorious Fugs as well. I went through a stage because I played it so much. I got a little bit sick of it at one stage, and I didn't listen to it for a couple of years. And then I must have been out, and I heard it again, and I thought, right, man, that's actually a sick track. Started playing it again, not just because of Biggie's flow, I'm a big Bone Thugs fan, and every single one of them kill it. The beat's sick. They all kill it. Biggie does his flow. It's not even particular. Everyone says it's a Bone Thugs flow. It's not a Bone Thugs flow. It's just like a double time bars. But he kills it anyway. Love that track. So Kicking the Door, Last Days, Notorious Thugs. 10 Crack Commandments. I was gonna say that. Or Somebody's Gotta Die, but I decided to go with 10 Crack Commandments because the beat gives it the edge for me as well. And I just think it's so creative how he does it. You know what I'm saying? Kills it. Don't need to say too much about that. And it's got to be Long Kiss Goodnight, man. RZA on the beat kills it. Just straight from the beginning. I Make Your Mouth Peace or beats like that. He just goes in straight away, the whole track, man. So yeah, it was hard to narrow it down to just 5, but they're the 5 I'm probably saying my favorites, man. What you got?
Couple obvious crossovers. First of all, being Kicking the Door. What more needs to be said about that track? The way Primo has taken that sample and what he did with it to make that beat. I just got to take a second for that one. Bro, that song right there. I think I don't know how, but I had heard it before the album came out. So, because obviously Hypnotized was all over the box and all of that stuff. But I had heard Kicking the Door and I was just like, what is going on? This is incredible. And even from the way that he starts it, you know, you're rated at the top with Short Like Leprechauns. And I was like, who's he going at? And then when I found out it was Nas later on, oh man.
It made it
just everything that is literally like a perfect hip hop record, isn't it? It's like but Primo, he's another one. Like he doesn't miss with anyone that he works closely with. He doesn't miss with Jay. He doesn't miss with Nas. He doesn't miss with Big. Like everything he did with those guys is just top notch. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. 10 Crack Commandments, again, Primo and Big. But again, the sample that he's used to make that song, again, incredible. And I've seen him perform both of those songs when he's done a set out live, and then he'll play a little bit of the sample, and then you're like, nah, no way did you make 10 Crack Commandments from this, and then he drops it,
kills it.
But like you said, the way Biggie took the whole 10, and then just makes a line out of, bro, man,
kills it, man. So creative.
I would say My Downfall as well. I really like My Downfall. I think he was talking some real shit on there. Yeah, just a powerful track, man. And everything he was saying on there turned out to be a bit prophetic. You know what I mean? It was
it's mad.
Yeah. I love that song. Even though Puff's on it, I managed to still make it through.
But bro, Becky, let me stop you for a minute. I know how you feel about Puff though. But don't you think he adds something to the track though?
No.
Just why did I waste my breath and ask you that?
Why did you even bother?
Why did I bother? Sorry, carry on. As you were.
All right. Last Days as well, obvious candidate, merely because Havoc, The Locks, Big on one tune. That's like, you know, hip hop dream stuff.
Yeah, man.
And all of them killed it. That was Havoc's period as well, wasn't it? Havoc was like untouchable from
fresh off hell on it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? So around them times, like Havoc, you couldn't mess with Havoc in any kind of way. And he proved it once again on the beat. All of the Locks brought it. I don't like people saying that Sheik is a weak link because he is not. All of them are dope. Like there isn't a weak link in that group. Simple as that. Like they all brought it. And as Jadakiss said, I did real songs with Big, no made up shit. And yeah, you know, that was a moment.
Agreed.
I think for the last one, You're Nobody Till Someone Kills You.
Oh, that's so deep.
That is another prophetic tune from him. And literally, you know, he was dead before the album actually dropped, which made that song even more harrowing. So the first time I heard that, I was like, flipping out.
Crazy.
This dude's made a tune called "You're Nobody Till Someone Kills You," and when he's not here, his album goes through the roof. I mean, his first album, I think he might have gone double platinum or something, which was big at that time for you know a raw rap record to sell that many units. But for him to level up when he was gone, do you know what I mean? It was just weird to hear once he was dead, and you're listening to this and you're like flipping out.
100%.
So yeah, man, 5 very dope joints.
No, solid, man, solid.
So what about what about the ones that weren't so great?
I got 3 for this. I was trying to get 5
man,
as well.
Be 5. It has to.
You know what? Okay. There's 3 that I dislike. Definitely.
Okay, I wonder if they're the same 3 that I got.
All right.
That'd
so the 3 that the 3 that I dislike is Play Hater.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Play Hater. Do you know what I mean? That don't need no talking. Another, I think is just terrible. I don't like.
You didn't need to be there.
Nah, it reminds me of I Know What Girls Like on Jay's Volume 1. It was just like, you know what I mean? It just didn't like it at all, man. And believe it or not, bro, I don't like Going Back to Kelly. Never have liked that song at all.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? But don't like it. I can let it run, but I'm never gonna put in the CD or whatever to play Going Back to Kelly. You know what I'm saying? So they're the 3 I dislike. If I had to say another couple that were my least favorite, that's what I mean. I really struggled because I think I like every other song. Like, do you know what I mean? Boy, maybe I even like More Money, More Problems. You know what I'm saying? I like that track. I Love the Dough. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard. I said those 2 because they're the ones that sometimes people's like, I can do without. So yeah, bro. Okay, probably the one with R. Kelly. Yeah, maybe. But I like that. It's a struggle, bro. It's like they're the 3 I dislike. All the rest I can play. Do you know what I mean? The 5 I said that are my favorites, but yeah. Let me hear what you got. It may spark and then jog my memory.
All right, so the first song I don't like is Hypnotized.
See, I like that. But I'll tell you why after, but carry on.
I couldn't stand that song from the jump. When I heard it, I was just like, this is... I didn't like the hook. I didn't like the video. I just didn't like the song. I just thought it was a bit bland, just a bit lazy. And I hear it like... you know what I mean? I've heard it multiple times since, and it never grew on me. You know, some songs when you first hear them, you're like, and then it grows on you. That never grew on me. I never liked it. So that's my first pick.
Yeah.
My second pick is More Money, More Problems. I never liked that song. I don't know. It just felt a bit shit. Like just the Diana Ross bit, it was just like, nah, man. Mace's verse, nah. And then when they brought out the video, it just made it worse for me. Like the shiny suits and they're holding on to something. Like, what is that about? Nah, they definitely could have did a better job with that as well. I just never liked it. I just thought it was weak. I feel that, and with a subject like More Money, More Problems, it shouldn't have been so shiny.
Yeah,
if you're saying More Money, More Problems,
good point actually. Yeah,
I'll be expecting, you know what I mean, a beat that's a little bit more grimy, gritty, like Eminem's Rock Bottom, for instance. That beat is grimy. He's talking some real shit on there about being at the very bottom. You'll talk about More Money, More Problems. Okay, but it's such a shiny, happy, I'm coming out song. It just doesn't quite make sense to me. Another, don't like it. Obviously, didn't need to be there. They just shoehorned the Big and Kim song on there that didn't need to be there, and it was badly done. They've got a lot better collaboration songs than that, in my opinion. And Player Hater, obviously. And lastly is Nasty Boy. I don't like that.
Oh yeah,
don't think it fits. Don't think it needs to be on the album. And I could quite happily go about my life not ever hearing that song again. So
I actually forgot about that. I'd put that in one of my, I wouldn't say I dislike it, but I'd put that in add that to one of the least favorites. Yeah,
Big is better than that. I mean, he did a much better job on One More Chance on the first album, and then he's kind of tried to do another one of those with Nasty Boy. And I just don't think it. I don't think it clicked, to be honest. Because as soon as I heard One More Chance, the original version, which was hard as nails,
it's mad.
the way he floats on that tune and that beat was hard, and then Nasty Boy was like, didn't need to be here. But you're gonna get bloat on a double album. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? You've got
100%.
so many songs. So, but yeah, those are my 5 that I would say I didn't enjoy. But leading from that, what would you say? Like, because we're obviously around the same age, so you have probably very similar memories of the album dropping as I have. So, what memories have you got like around the album rollout? When it dropped?
So a couple that immediately come to mind is definitely, and that's why I said I'll say it after it, the Hypnotized, because it's purely sentimental with that song. Because obviously, as I said, around 95, you know what I mean, Biggie is my favorite rapper around that era. Do you know what I mean? He was definitely 1 or 2. So I was ready, you know what I mean? Well, just like everyone else in the hip hop community, in it, we were ready for the second album, man. Do you know what I mean? He had done his work on the debut, done his Junior Mafia, done his features. We were ready, in it. So when it dropped and Hypnotized was the first thing I heard, I didn't like it at first. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it was weird seeing him so happy in the video, for one. Do you know what I'm saying? But he looked like he was having a good time. But yeah, I didn't like it at first. I thought, man, I don't really know if I like this song, man. Didn't like it. I thought lyrically he killed it still, no doubt.
But it was that Biggie. I was like, what?
Yeah, I thought, I don't like this. But then, but bro, what done it though was after he passed, we was in Westwood, shout out Westwood, didn't it? Well, not Westwood, but his shows. I mean, they were you and I know what I'm talking about.
Say no more.
A lot of other people. But but Westwood, the shows though, every Friday, every last Friday in a month in Tottenham Temple at the time.
Yeah,
he was there, bro. Those were the times.
Yeah, big up everyone that was at the Temple, man.
Trust
the Temple
me, man.
done.
Bro, trust me. So I was in there, and we was like, and everyone, and Biggie had, this was the first one after Biggie had passed. So everyone was like, so they was talking on the mic, and it was like, you know what, R.I.P. to Biggie and that. Do you know what I mean? He made such an impact. He's passed away and he's gone, but before he went, he left us with this, and then he dropped Hypnotized, yeah. And like I said, I didn't like it, but bro, it was just a surreal moment, man. Just when he came in with the and then a beat, everyone just lost it, bro. They just went crazy. And it's like, even though you didn't like the song, it was just like a celebration of his life. You know, it was exactly like, bro, you know, like the funeral, but not the funeral, when the big hearse and that was driving through. Yeah, and then someone must have played Hypnotized and everyone. It was exactly like that, bro, in Westwood. So from that moment, I loved Hypnotized. So now it's like, I almost feel like I can't skip it. It's that's what I mean. It's a weird sentimental thing, but I actually love it because of that. So that's a memory I always remember. And another one was, I think we've spoken about this before in another episode, but when I bought the Source magazine, they had put him on the front of the cover, but they had obviously issued that edition, everything like that, before he died, but he wasn't dead at the time they done that. So they was like, you know, just doing some jokes and that at the back. And I was thinking, wow, where's the respect, man? Like, how comes? I remember when Tupac had passed 6 months before, they had given him the whole spread. So I'm expecting the same for Biggie, and it wasn't there. Then obviously the next edition, he was on it again when he had passed away. So I remember coming back from the shop. I had my bag on my back, and I had the Source magazine in my bag, and Life After Death. I just picked it up from Just for the Beat. You know what I mean? Shout out Tottenham again. Yeah, man. So I was going home and I played the album, and I was just flicking through the Source, just reading about it and listening to the album at the same time. It was just surreal, man. It was just crazy. But yeah, they're probably 2 memories that always immediately come to mind when I think of Life After Death. And just the fact it was a double album. We know it worked first, but you know what I mean? It was still a big thing at the time to do double albums. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's probably my first 2 sort of memories that are directly linked to Life After Death. What are you saying?
Boy, I ain't gonna lie, the memories aren't good. Linked to it, because there was just something inexplicable that was going on in hip hop at the time when between Biggie and Pac. And I was on a holiday. I think I just come back from Jamaica, and I was there for the summer. And when I came back, my cousin had left a message on my on my answer phone, because we did have mobiles back then. And he was like, "Bro, you need to listen to this." And he was playing.
Carry on, bro.
He was playing a bit of "Hit 'Em Up," and I was like, okay." So I had missed that, but then he went, listen to this, and then he played a bit of a big song, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I've missed out on a load of stuff. So it took me a while to really digest the Biggie song, because Pac had just died, and it just wasn't a good time in hip hop in general. And then knowing that Big was in LA, my question was just why? Why would you go there when you know the climate? Like, what was going on. Pac's died. He was your friend. It's not like you didn't know each other and you weren't having beef before he died. Why would you go to LA? Like, I'll ask this question for 25 years now. Like, why were you there? It doesn't make any sense. And I've heard C's talking about, he loved it out there, rare. Like, don't talk to us like we're idiots, bro. Like,
yeah, come on.
I don't care how much you love somewhere. If you know that the heat is going to be on, you ain't got much security, from what we've heard from Gene Dill and other people who said, like, we were very light on security, we were light on guns, like, we were literally sitting ducks out there.
Crazy.
So to go there and expect like nothing was going to happen, because I'm sure I've heard as well that they were getting death threats and all sorts, like they're phoning big phones saying we're gonna kill you, blah blah blah. And then to see the pictures on the news when I woke up, and it's like, Big's been killed, and you got the pictures of his car and the bullet holes, and he wasn't just killed, he was assassinated. Like, this was a targeted killing. It's not like nobody else died. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like people just spraying bullets and Puffy got hit and C's got hit and Biggie. Like, literally, it was just Biggie. And it was just like, I don't know. It's not a fun memory for me. Like, around this time. So, and when he died, then the album came out afterwards. Like, it wasn't like the album was out and then he died. So he never even got to see the reception that the album got. Didn't get to see any of that. And he was 24 years old, man. Like, my son is like not far from that.
It's crazy.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for him to have achieved all of that at his age and not get to see that, and his mum is full Jamaican, like Valletta Wallace. She's, you know what I mean? So just the fact that, our families are from the same place, all of it, man, it just wasn't not good memories for me. Just and I was a kid at the time. So listening to and seeing all this stuff, and just the climate just didn't feel good in hip hop.
That's what I was about to ask you, yeah.
It just felt it was like two superstars. Like, what genre?
6
what
months
other genre
apart,
of music?
bro.
6 months apart, two of the biggest superstars in that. And it's not like one of them got run over by a bus and one of them had cancer. Like, both of them were killed by guns. Like, and both sitting in the passenger seat of a vehicle, both out of their ends. None of them were at home. Biggie went in New York, Pac went in LA. Like, they were both out of their ends, both in the passenger seat, both assassinated. Bro, that's gonna, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't a good feat. I just didn't want to listen to much. 97, I kind of tuned out a little bit, if I'm honest. I think I caught like Capone and Noriega, and No Limit started booming around that time. So I just wasn't interested after March, really, that year. So, just not fun memories, man. It was bad. It was a bad time in hip hop. And I think, for people who are younger than us who are listening to the show now, the only way that I can equate it now would be if someone had shot, and I'm not wishing death on anybody. I'm
Yeah,
just
of
trying
course.
to equate it, but I'm saying if someone shot Nas and Jay now, like in broad daylight, you would understand how it would feel for us. Like it's so difficult to explain. Like your biggest stars are just murdered. And then to hear the music after he died, I don't know, bro, man. It was just really strange.
Yeah.
So I remember it all like it was yesterday, man. I remember my cousin's excitement at the beef that Biggie and Pac were having. I remember the video for Hit 'Em Up. Then I remember Biggie's first single coming out and hearing that. It's just horrible, a horrible time.
Definitely,
man. The music lives on, man.
Yeah, it was weird because I kind of felt this is gonna sound weird to say, but I always now I've got Tupac over Biggie. Like I said, Biggie's number 4 for me. Tupac's my number 2. But these times, I preferred Biggie to Tupac, but still like Tupac a lot. When he died, I ain't gonna lie, I shed a tear when Tupac died. It just felt mad and just crazy. Do you know what I mean? But I kind of felt that 6 months later when Biggie died, and I made the point of saying that I preferred Biggie to Tupac, but I kind of felt like, is this going to be the norm now? That's why I said I was going to ask you how you felt the climate, because I almost felt like, is this what we got to expect now then? Because you got to remember, we had just gone from, I know I'm going to miss out loads of names, but Eazy-E had just died. I know that was a completely different thing, but that was AIDS. He had died 95.
95, 96, 97, we had 3 major deaths.
Do you know what I mean? So it was almost like, oh man, it's just good. So I remember I kind of desensitized to it a little bit, and it was crazy. Shook you obviously and hurt you, but you're just like, man, it's just gonna be the norm. Do you know what I mean? It's something like that. But yeah, as you said, man, the music lives on, and here we are, 25 years later.
Exactly, man.
Still talking about him.
Exactly that.
Representing him. So yeah, man.
So when was the first time that you heard Big or heard of Big?
So, bro, I got to give a shout out right now to a substitute No, he wasn't even a substitute. He was a teaching assistant in my school, Northumberland Park in Tottenham. Once again, shout out to Tottenham. Mr. Chubba. That's his real name, bro. Mr. Chubba. Yeah, trust me, he got no end of it. You already know how kids are, bro.
Oh my God, he would have got ripped in our school. My goodness.
But listen, I will never forget that name. Do you know why? Because it's the answer to your question. We was there, and like I said, he was a teaching assistant. So he weren't even working with me directly. He was working with some of the other kids who were struggling a bit. And remember, like, for the sake of American friends that listen to this a lot, you got to understand, growing up in the UK in the early 90s was different to America. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure Slack can vouch for this as well. Whoever were the hip hop heads in the school, people would go to them for hip hop information because it weren't, not everyone was a hip hop head. You understand what I'm saying? So there was a few. So obviously, me and my brother Sinclair, shout out Sinclair, we was on the table and a couple of girls and some other people, we was talking about music. Mr. Chubba was a young teacher. He's got family in America. So he comes over to us because he heard us talking about hip hop and that. Remember it like it was yesterday, bro. He comes over and he says, I want to talk to you. We thought it was about school stuff, innit? And he says, have you heard of someone called the Notorious B.I.G? But none of us had heard of this guy, Biggie, at this point. I don't even know what year this was. It must have been late 93. Must have been late 93, but none of us had heard of him. He was like, who? Notorious B.I.G. He was like, nah. He said, listen out for him, because he had family in America. He said, listen out for him. He's got a song coming out. It's called Juicy or whatever, but he's blowing up in America now. So we just thought, okay, cool. Thought nothing else of it. It must have been the next day or the couple of days or whatever. My cousin called me. Shout out Leonie. She called me and she was like, oh, cuz, have you heard of Notorious B.I.G? I was like, nah, but some teacher just told us about him. Then I was at her house and I saw the Juicy video come on. Everyone knows I'm not a fan of Juicy, never have been, but I was still like, right, this is the guy that the teacher was telling us about. So I was interested straight away. I'm listening out for him, and then from then, bro, it was just Biggie, man. I just wanted, pun intended. But yeah, so I didn't even mean to do that, bro. But yeah, it was just like Biggie. From then, I wanted to hear what was dropping. Obviously, single after single, album drop, rest is history, man. But that was the first time I'd ever heard of this guy called Biggie, and it was that from Mr. Chubbawamba, man. So yeah, that's how I heard of him, man.
Oh, big up Chumbawamba, still. Big up.
Definitely, bro. Innit? Trust me.
The first time I heard of Big was because I used to listen to, I still do, but I used to listen to a lot of ragga, stroke reggae. So I was big into Supercat. And then he was on a remix to Dolly My Baby, obviously.
Sick tune.
So I heard that, and that actually used to get rinsed. And I was just like, who is this dickhead with him? I didn't know about Puff at the time, but I was just, even from then I couldn't stand him. I was like, why is
that was a terrible verse,
skinny run on this song talking this bullshit? It was horrible. But there was something about Big, and his verse wasn't even that long. It was quite a short verse, but I don't know what it was. I think it was at the end where he's like, they can't take it no more, because that was one of my favorite songs anyway at the time. Like, that's an old school reggae song, if people don't know. That's where he got it from. So right then I was like, okay. So for our American listeners, we got a thing in the UK called the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, and you do things like you go orienteering, you go camping, and all that kind of bullshit that you do as kids. So we were on a camping trip. So all of my little hip hop crew were there. Like, me and my boys had all decided to go. So there was like maybe 6, 7 of us, whatever. And one of my friends had like a loudspeaker, and we were listening to Machine Gun Funk on this loudspeaker. I'll never forget it. So while we're walking, we've got our bags with all of our camping shit. We all got massive bags on, and we're just walking, and we're just repeating this song. And that line where he's like beating motherfuckers, like, you know what I mean? And then we just kept on going. We're like, that is crazy. And when he was talking about just I am a helicopter and all this, and we were just like, this guy he's on something. And then Juicy would continually get played on every single video channel, the box, MTV, all the stuff that we used to watch. So pretty much from then I was like, okay. Yeah. And then when the debut album dropped, it was a wrap.
Done and dusted, bro.
I hadn't heard anything like it. From the very first song, he takes you on a journey through everything. From I'm broke, I need money, warning, people try to kill me, to I can't take this shit no more, suicidal thoughts. Everything he said on Everyday Struggle was true, about his mum having breast cancer, about him going down south to hustle. All of them bits that he was talking about was factual. Obviously I didn't know at the time, but as time goes on, it turns out that was a, you know what I mean, that was a true song. To him calling himself Big Papa, like just everything. He had a song for every mood. If you wanna be just like on some, I want to hear some rap, he's got Unbelievable, he's got The What. If you want to hear him tell a story, he's got Give Me the Loot. If you want to hear him make a song for the women, he's got Big Papa. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just got everything. Like, even the storytelling on Me and My Bitch is brilliant. So it was a classic as soon as, you know what I mean, once we had digested it, we were just like, yeah, like no one else is doing anything close to this. And that's when I just knew that, yeah, he was on a different level, man. And yeah, I think that was a great intro to a great artist. So we're on to something slightly more downbeat, but how did you feel when he actually passed, man? Like, when you had heard that he was, you know, so young and out in a place he should never have been and killed.
Yeah, man. It just you know what I mean? Like we said, with the build up and just listening to Ready to Die, do you know what I mean? It was kind of weird because obviously we had just lost Tupac, obviously. And Tupac was very almost prophetic with what he was talking about, you know. It's sad to say, but right, you know what I mean? He seemed like a man who just thought to himself, listen, not saying he wanted to, but you know what I mean, from his music, you know what I mean, saying that more. He said a lot where you kind of felt like he was struggling with that sometimes, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But yeah, but it was almost like Big was the opposite. Like you felt like he had life that he wanted to live, things that he wanted to do. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was a shock. It was a shock because it was like, rah, this can't be real, man. You're just like, nah. You just felt a sense of loss, like a big, not just for hip hop, but just felt like, rah, just a real sense of loss, man. See, earlier you said for the younger listeners, and you gave an example, to even bring it to a younger perspective to that. I mean, I know when what's his name? Xtation.
Oh, yeah. I know the guy.
So I remember when he passed, man. My daughter was kind of cut up. Do you know what I mean? Because she liked his stuff. She listened to him a lot. And she was just explaining to me what it feels like him being gone. But obviously, no one wants to see a life lost. But I didn't feel that impact because I had never listened to his music.
Right.
And then a colleague of mine at work, when Pop Smoke was killed, she was cut up. And at the very time, Pop Smoke was her screensaver. You know what I mean? She loved the guy. Yeah. So she was once again just trying. She was like, it'd be like when you guys, you say you guys, like you're like in the history books. You know what I mean? She was like, when you guys lost Biggie and Tupac, that's what it's like for us with losing Pop Smoke. So it's just weird. It just felt like you felt the loss, man. It's like nah, things are going to be different with these two people gone, man. And I just enjoyed his music so much, man. Do you know what I mean? And he weren't. Obviously, the girls loved him off, man. I don't want to say I met him because that would be overhyping it. I never met him. I was in Temple when he was there. So I was here and he was over there. One of my biggest regrets, I was shook, man. I felt nervous to go and say something to him. It was like summer 95. But yeah, he was like over there and all the girls are there talking to him. The girls loved him off. They just surrounded him. I spoke to Cease and some other people, but not Biggie. So the point I'm making is that he wasn't really this kind of, you know what I mean, young, attractive guy like that, so to speak, but girls loved him off, you know what I'm saying? But I love just how confident he was, how he presented himself. He almost made it cool to be uncool, you know what I'm saying? I just thought this guy, he can do it all, innit? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you felt that loss, man. You felt like he had a lot more to give, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It did feel like he had so much more to do. And it was just a shame that he got caught up in all the nonsense that was going on. All born out of paranoia, bad communication, people amping it up, media, man, just all of that stuff in the same pot. And people still ain't learned. People are still hyping beef between people. Like, I think I said the other day, like someone was hyping some beef. I can't remember who it was between, but they're like, oh, look at this person. Maybe it was them. And I'm like, okay, so when one of them gets killed, or I'm not saying that they will, but I'm saying if anything happens to any of them, you're the first ones that's going to be like, oh, R.I.P. But you're there like stirring the pot, instigating beef between these guys. When you should be doing the opposite. You should be instigating them getting back together if if that's the case, and hearing what they got to put in the music. Do you know what I mean? But
agreed, man.
This seems to be, the clown show that is hip hop, man. And it was worse then because, well, not worse. It's worse now because you've got more access. But I think it was worse then because we didn't have so much access. So the stuff that we saw was more major because it was newsworthy.
Right.
Like a little on the phone beef between Slaughterhouse. That's not newsworthy to me.
It wouldn't even make it to us.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. We would never have known that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys could have had a phone conversation and had a disagreement. And that's the end of it. But now everything gets blown up because everyone has to be recorded. Everyone has to have something, a response to everything. So then it had to be newsworthy, like you said. So when Pac got shot at Quad Studios, obviously that's going to make the news. Pac gets shot in Vegas, that's going to make the news. Biggie gets, killed in Los Angeles, that's going to make the news. So we're seeing this stuff, and it's like, it was the Wild West, man. And
it was crazy, man.
It was crazy, man. But what really got me when he died was just the fact that he was a kid, as I said before, and not a child, but you're 24.
20
Like
years young, man.
you know what I mean? My kid is still my kid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so just to think that Biggie was like a couple years older than him blows my mind.
It's crazy.
And how are you making an album like Ready to Die at like 22? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who's doing that? Who is doing that? And
that's crazy.
And then you make Life After Death at like 24 years old. Like, listen to what the man is talking about at 24 years old. Like, nobody is doing this right now.
And it's skill, man.
And exactly. And it's not only that, but he did all the features that he did, from Total to Tracy Lee to that soundtrack that he was on. He was so versatile that he could touch anything and it wouldn't sound whack. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because you know, some people can make radio reaches. Like, let's go for Nas. Okay, when he made You Owe Me, that was horrible to me, because that was like, okay, let's get Timbaland, let's get Genuine, and let's get Nas together and let's see what happens. And I think that was horrible. Like,
yeah, it was.
So a lot of people have made those reaches for radio, and it just comes off horrible. But Biggie's just never seemed forced. It was just like he could do whatever. He was still big on those tunes. He wasn't let me fit in with Total or let me fit in with 112. So I think that's what made him special, man. So in his death, it just made me think about all of that, and just like there was nobody really that I thought at the time was as good. There was a lot of rappers who were really good at rapping and all that kind of stuff, and who I enjoyed, but who could you really say could go from, like we just said, from 112 to Total to all of those songs that we mentioned before, Ready to Die, all of those songs that we mentioned on Life After Death? Who had that range?
Yeah, no, I genuinely don't think anyone.
I can't think of anyone.
No, to do all of it so well and it not just look like a reach, like you said, and pull it all off. Do you know what I'm saying?
And then to be writing rhymes for the whole Junior Mafia on top of that. Man, I don't think that achievement really gets the props that it should. Charlie Baltimore said she wrote all her rhymes. I'm not going to say she's lying. Big might have said, here's a line here, or tighten that up or whatever. But again, she was rapping because of him. So yeah, man, that's why I think Jay-Z and him were just like, because they were like, yeah, okay, you're the best. And just imagine if they kept pushing each other. Imagine what they could have achieved together as well. That's another massive what if, man.
That's it, man.
So, what would you say is your one favorite thing about Big? Like, someone said to you, "What? He's been dead 25 years. Like, why are you still talking about this guy? Like, what would you say?"
Yeah. You know what, man? I want to say, there's a few things. I'm trying to pick the most one.
Keep it clean.
Yeah. There you go. All right, everyone knows. Everyone knows his storytelling, which I do want to highlight in a minute. But I just want to say is his versatility, man. Like he just took command of the mic. Like you felt like wherever it was, you just felt like Biggie's hair. No matter what he was talking about, what flow he's trying to give you. When I say versatility, I don't even mean like in changing up his flows. I just mean like what we're talking about just now. That Can't You See with Total, but I can't even tell you how many times that was just on repeat. Look how smooth the track is.
Exactly.
But he killed it. If you actually listen to what he's talking about, it's nothing pretty. Do you know what I'm saying? But he's still so smooth with it, man. Okay, but let me say my favorite thing about him, like I said, there's so many. I have to just say, all right, his flow then. I'm going to say his flow. I think his flow, and this is going to sound silly to say, because here we are 25 years later, but bro, I think his flow is underrated, man. Like,
yeah, I think it is.
Do you know what I'm saying? Everyone thinks about Biggie, but his flow, I was listening to One More Chance the other day, right? Everyone knows how sick the original is, goes without saying. But with the commercial remix, sometimes you can just think, we're just, you know what I mean? But bro, when you listen to his lyrical ability and performance on that is actually insane. Do you know what I'm saying? There was a bit that was in my head, man. I'm trying to remember what it is. just little things like it's like first to talk about how I dress is this and diamond because this stretch lexus is the sex is just he's just like this with it, bro. And you're following him like that, and he's just it's not just on that. He's like that all the time, man. So I want to say his flow, and just the effortlessness of his flow. Like some people can flow good and they're good technical rappers, but you can tell that they're trying. Like you can tell that they've worked hard on that. Do you know what I mean? Like I think Eminem's like that. I think there's a lot of good technical rappers that I like, but you can just imagine them really crafting.
It doesn't feel effortless. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
With Biggie,
I totally agree.
Yeah, man.
Totally agree.
That's probably what I'd have to say. But there's so many things I could say, but I'm gonna point on that one. What about you?
Yeah. I pretty much have to echo what you said, if I'm being honest. Like just the versatility. Like you could play. I remember we did like a big appreciation night some years back, and we had DJs playing like Biggie sets, only Biggie sets, nothing else. So how have you kept people engaged, kept them on the dance floor with only one artist?
That's what I mean.
Whether it be a feature, whether it be one of his, like every DJ was playing a different set. It's not like you were hearing the same tunes getting repeated all the time. So for that to be able to happen, and he only had, like we said, 5 years worth of music, and you can go to a club and each DJ, I think we might have had 3 DJs playing a Biggie set on the night or whatever, and for each of them to have a different set and it's still kill.
Yeah,
man, come on, and like he was just one of them special, like rare MCs, and I think sometimes people who didn't get to experience it, that are hearing it late, don't understand like what the impact was and what he was doing and making rappers rap better. It was almost like when Rakim came out and he made rappers want to rap better. Biggie made rappers want to rap better. Nas has said it, Jay said it, and they were the 2 biggest ones at the time. The Wu said how much respect that they had for him as well, and for him to, as you said, like for him to be fat, black, and ugly as ever, but still be able to make these tunes that are relatable to the ladies and all that. That takes a special skill and talent.
Bro, he's incredible MC, man.
Yeah, man, he was, and that's why I guess that kind of leads into the last point is like, what would you say is his greatest exhibition of skill throughout his career?
I think seeing there's moments, like I mentioned, and I hate to say something so commercial, but like mentioning One More Chance, there's just so many things like that. So many things like he'll say, just little things, even on that same track when he's talking about, her flight leaves at 8, her flight lands at 9, my game just rewind. It's just little things that are so simple, but it's like, bro, he just told us a whole story and he's like, I'm going to be doing it all again with another chick in an hour's time. It's just mad. But I think his greatest exhibition for me is on something like Somebody's Gotta Die, or Niggas Bleed. Just when he tells story, bro, he puts humor in it. And when you're listening to it and you're listening to what he's doing in the background as well, he's creative. Like, I don't know if it was Puffy or anyone telling him to do it. I don't know. But the stuff he's ad-libbing in the back. So when you listen to his music and you're listening to him tell the story, when he's talking about, I might be mixing it up with Niggas Bleed or Somebody's Got to Die, but when he's talking about, he turns around and he's holding his daughter and then the baby's crying as it's just sort of coming out. I think it was on Niggas Bleed when he's talking about, they've double parked by a hydrant and got towed away. Do you know what I mean? And then he's in a meeting and the guy's like, oh, Frank, pay attention. You can imagine him sitting there, just not really focusing. His ability to tell stories that make you feel like you're right there with him, but yet still enjoy the song.
That is a hard skill, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro, because some people are good, and that's the debate we always have in hip-hop. Someone can be brilliant lyrically or brilliant at storytelling, or a concept album can be amazing, but it don't have much replay value. Because let's be honest, man, once you got the message And
Do
you've
you want to hear it
got
again?
away with it, right? Sometimes it's almost like, do you know what I mean? But Biggie's got away, man. He would tell stories. I think he is the greatest storyteller in hip hop, because he's
I
got a
think
way of
I
tell you
think you're right.
stories.
His storytelling ability is underrated, man, as far
It's
as I'm
mad,
concerned.
bro. Just the little
Yeah.
things, the detail that he throws in is what makes it crazy. Do you know what I mean? So I'd say his greatest exhibition is when he's telling you stories, man. And that's why I love Life After Death so much. Because yes, there's stories on Ready to Die, but for me, I like calm Big. Like when he's hype and shouting, which he's doing majority on Ready to Die. It's cool. That's still Biggie at his, you know what I mean, in his element. But I think when he just toned it down a little bit for Life After Death, and he was just rapping and telling you stories and bringing you in, that now became something cinematic. I've said it a million times. It now became something you feel like you can put in and you're watching a movie, man. Do you know what I mean? So that's his greatest exhibition of skill for me, is when he's telling you a story, man. He don't miss any details. It's brilliant, man.
Nah, man, he puts you right there, innit? It's like you can close your eyes and picture like every bit of it. Yeah, I agree, man. For me, I think it's the fact that he was never washed.
Yeah.
Like he rapped with Jay, he rapped with the Locks, he rapped with everybody, and he was never washed off a song. If anyone was doing the washing, it was him. So
wherever he was, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that in itself, you know what I mean, that's a testament to how good he was. And I think a lot of people get it twisted when they keep talking all that bullshit about, oh, you not just revere him because he's dead and all this. It's just nostalgia. It's like, nah, man, you're not listening, clearly. Because there's not many artists that you can dedicate an hour to. And you can dedicate more than an hour to what he did. And once again, draw you back to the fact that his career wasn't even 10 years long.
That was cut crazy
Like,
short.
think about that. Like, his career wasn't 10 years long. And from his passing, we got someone like Little Kim, who then took female rapper in a whole new direction. You know, who's to say what the Locks would have been if they were in the studio with Big? You know, they've spoken about how important those sessions were, how they had to step their game up. Just so many things, man. Just so many things that he did, that he changed. And being, you know, West Coast was dominating at the time when he came out. Like, there was a lot of dope New York stuff, like super dope around, you know what I mean, 93, 94. But let's be honest, like, Dre and Snoop had a chokehold on everything early 90s. So for him to come back with that real kind of gritty New York, and he didn't make any apologetic songs, man. Like, none of them were apologetic. Like, all of his verses had some, like you said, they had some kind of nuggets, and we still use lines that he said, like all the way back then, like UPS is hiring and all of that kind of stuff. Like, these lines are still used to this day. So the influence is there, the bars are there, the storytelling's there, the flow's there, the beat selection's there. What more do you want? What more do you want? Man. And on top of that, he said, "Okay, Bone Thugs, yeah, all right, cool. I'm gonna switch it up on this song just because I can, just because I can."
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? Like, who? That's why, for me, I can't put nobody above him. And people would say, "Oh, you know, he's only got 2 hours." That tired bullshit argument. But at the same time, you're going to tell me that, but you're going to put Lauryn Hill as the greatest female rapper. So make your fucking mind up. Which one is it?
This is the thing, yeah, exactly.
Like, don't talk shit about Biggie's got 2 albums, but he wrote Junior Mafia's album. He wrote multiple other shit. He was on R&B songs. He did it all. He did everything. But then you're going to tell me you can't put him as a GOAT, but Lauryn Hill is, because she's got one album that's mostly singing. How does that make sense? It doesn't.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so
Big has more than enough material, moments, iconic moments, push the culture forward. Like, I can't personally think of anyone that I'll put above him. And it doesn't matter if someone brings out 35 albums, because that doesn't tell me how good they are.
It's not, yeah, that's what I mean.
Do you know what I'm saying? the fact that he brought out a small selection of albums that I can still play 25 years later, that tells you much more than someone who's got, like Cannabis. We've already spoken about him. He could rap his ass off. Do I give a damn about anything he drops? No. I don't. Like, he's still dropping albums now. I don't care because I don't care. And I'm not saying that he can't rap, because I know he can rap, but he doesn't make music that will make me still want to play it 25 years later. And that's another string to his bow. I still play Biggie music to this day, and it's not. It's because you can still catch new stuff when you listen to his music. Quarter of a century, bro. That's just ridiculous when you think about it, man. So for me, crazy, he literally ticks every single box as an MC. And if people want to talk about sales, we can do that too. We're not interested in sales on the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast at all, because that money ain't going in our pockets. Exactly. However, if you want to talk about sales, he's got that nailed as well. So he literally does everything. And I can't think of many other MCs that I can put in the same ring as him. You know what I mean? And at that age, when he died.
Yeah, bro, that's what's crazy about it as well. The progression was insane. Like we said, man, if he went on to do another one, or imagine if that Commission album dropped.
It would have been over, man. Hip hop would have been it would be a different place for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Gone too soon, man. Rest in peace, Biggie, man.
Yeah, man.
Elite MC.
Yeah, MC. Man. It was nice to celebrate his career for an hour.
100%.
And just the fact that it's been, such a long time since he's been gone, but his impact is still so massive. That just goes to show you, that he was a special MC, and he ain't gonna be. There's never gonna be another one. We've had 25 years and we haven't seen anyone coming close to what he did. So, big up to Big. Big up to you all for tuning in and checking out our 25th anniversary of the Life After Death show. We will be back with more reviews, more shows, more topics, and all of that good stuff, man. So thank you as always for tuning in and for rocking with us this week. And we'll see you on the next one, man. So from me and from my co-host extraordinaire up in the building,
E Major, nothing but love. Appreciate you all tuning in, man. It's good to have Slap back as well. I had a good episode last week, but obviously the brother weren't with us, so it's good to have Slap back as well. But yeah, man, appreciate it. Love, keep sharing, keep, doing what you're doing, talking, everything about it, man. We appreciate you, man. Yeah, man.
Much appreciation, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.